So the next two kits for June are the Myrtle Topiary planter and also the Myrtle tree. So again, following the sort of theme of the myrtle that we did for the trio and the little kit, they're just really lovely evergreen plants that can last such a long time. They can be used indoors and outdoors. So yeah, I just thought they were a really good addition for our June kits. So I'm going to start with the Myrtle tree. Now that comes with an 18cm terracotta pot, so with the lovely scallop detailing and the saucer. And you'll have your Myrtle tree, your compost, your gravel and moss. And yeah, let's kit this one up. Okay, so adding in the gravel into your pot when it's sat on top of the saucer already. And then adding maybe a couple of handfuls of compost on top of the gravel. You can pop your tree in just to kind of see where it sits. I think that's about right. And then taking your tree out of its pot and then simply placing that in the pot. Now you can be kind of you can angle it slightly to make sure that you're getting it nice and straight. That looks about right. And then you're adding in your compost around the edges. And making sure it's sort of compressed down around the sides. Okay. Now we can add our moss on top to finish the potting off. So you'll have your sphagnum, your bun and your flat moss in your kits. So it's completely up to you which ones you use, whether you use all of them and do a mix. That's what I'm going to do now. And then all you're doing is covering your compost with the moss. So with the bun moss, I take off the back sort of root system just so that it lays a little bit flatter and a bit more flush on top of the soil. And then I'll fill in the gaps with more sphagnum. And that is your Myrtle tree potted. More sphagnum there. Okay, I'm going to pop that to the side and then we're going to do your Topiary planter kit. So that comes in this really lovely sort of grey buff rattan planter. It's fully lined. If you plan to keep your myrtle outside, you can pierce the plastic in the planter. You can just use a pair of scissors and just do some sort of little snips so that it drains. The only sort of thing about that though is that if you then plan to bring it inside in the winter, if you don't have a greenhouse or sort of a porch or somewhere sheltered, it may be tricky when you water it. So it's up to you. Probably my advice would be to add in all of your gravel and let that be the drainage. So don't, unless you plan to keep it outside all year long or you have a greenhouse, I wouldn't put drainage holes in the plastic. Just add in all of your gravel and then go in with your compost. So the gravel will therefore, as long as you're not sort of waterlogged watering, the gravel will sort of create that drainage. So if there is too much water in, it will sit where the gravel is and not where the root system is above it. So I've just added a layer of compost just there, and then I'm going to pop in a gorgeous topiary just straight into the rattan. Oh, I love it. And then simply adding in the compost all around the edges. Now, in terms of care for Myrtle, if you haven't watched the trio video for Myrtle and the little Myrtle kit video tutorial, then I will go through it with you now. So Myrtle thrive indoors. I would say they're almost better indoors than outside. They do not like cold climates. They do not like frost. They will die if they if they are subjected to frost, they will die, and they won't survive it. So I suggest if you want to keep it outside, that's great. Just make sure you bring it in September before the first frosts come. Yeah, it can cope really well indoors, probably better. It needs a decent amount of sunlight, as with all Mediterranean plants. So keep it in a nice sunny spot. Water it regularly, but don't overwater it. So water it, allow it to dry out in the top inch of soil, and then re-water. But do not, especially if you don't have drainage holes, do not just waterlog it, because it will get root rot, and that's just not good for it at all. So keep them somewhere sunny. Water when the top inch of soil is dry, and that's about it. I hope you enjoy them. So yeah, there you have it, the Myrtle Topiary and the Myrtle Tree kits.